Canelo, I think, hits a hell of a lot harder than Murata.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be a problem for him. That might be a little chink in his armor.
He was apparently told by his doctor that his skull is 1.5 times thicker than the average human man. Welcome to another round, and we just thought we'd take a few moments to discuss the Triple G fight. I'm here with my co-host, Charles Silverton and Hamza Hanif. How you doing, guys?
Good evening.
Good evening, boys.
Good evening. Thanks very much for having us, Mike.
Yeah, no worries. I just thought I'd throw it over to you guys. What's your initial reaction?
I mean, what a fight. It was an absolute war. It was a little bit weird because Murata came out of Pirates of the Caribbean and it was like really dramatic entrance. And he came with those intentions as well, because the way he met Golovkin in the ring, right in the center of the ring, and kind of pushed him back for the early part of the fight was amazing. I mean, he showed so much heart. It's weird because like coming into this fight, I was sort of like, the question for me was, is Golovkin aging? And it's like, that question kind of got even this in the fight, and he eventually, but it was still answered. He is, and he was very hittable at times. But it was a really exciting fight. Really exciting fight.
I think, as you've already said, Murata came out of the blocks he was dropping bombs on Triple G. And I think anybody other than Triple G would probably have gone down in those first 2 or 3 rounds. He was taking some really, really quality shots and combinations from Murata. He was clearly spurred on by the home crowd there, which is always great to see. And as you said, the fact that Triple G just turned 40, I think yesterday, clearly has not made any difference to his ability whatsoever. He's a quality operator, and he's finished that fight in great style.
He's definitely still got a lot of power, and he can take a lot of punches. But I thought he started off pretty I know he does start slowly, and he starts his fights quite slow. But when I watched it, I thought, bloody hell, he's taking a lot of hits. And I was quite surprised because I would have given Murata the first 5 rounds. And the commentators were like worried when I was watching it. They were like getting all nervous about the fight. But then as it went on, I was thinking to myself, I've seen him before and I know how flat-footed he starts fights, and he takes so many on the chin. He just doesn't look like it hurts him.
The same thing against Kell Brook a few years ago when they had a great fight. And I think that's the thing that people love about Triple G, the tenacity. He will go, like, I suppose, away from home always for him. But, you know, he fights anywhere. There's a great fight to be had. He will travel. He will endure the heart of the home fighter. And he always comes back and shows his class, which is, it's commendable.
Yeah, I think with Triple G as well, and I actually picked up on the same thing as you, Mike. He's always a little bit of a slow starter. I do feel in this fight though he was a slower starter than usual. I don't know if that was the ring rust or the age, and he's always quite flat-footed, and he makes up with that with a great stiff jab and really powerful shots. But I feel like at times his footwork was a little bit more than flat-footed. It was a little bit almost disjointed at times. And it was slightly worrying because he has set up a great clash with Canelo, obviously, if Canelo can deal with Bivol. And it was great the way he finished the fight, but the way he started it and how long it took him to get going was slightly worrying.
He got hit loads of times in the first 4 rounds. I know he can take...
It was really hurting him to the body as well. And I feel like that there were times where he was almost giving his head to Murata, like, to stop him from, and he kept leaning back like this as well, like stretching out his body. Canelo, I think, hits a hell of a lot harder than Murata. So that might be a problem for him. That might be a little chink in his armor.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I think, given the punching power of the two fighters, and not to take anything away from Murata, because he was clearly hitting him with some big shots, but I think some of those body shots, and indeed the headshots he took, if they're coming in from Canelo, then the fight's going to be over in the first 4 or 5 rounds. Equally, Canelo, not necessarily one of these out of the blocks kind of blazing starters. He likes to build into a fight as well. So maybe Triple G will get away with it.
I think it was the second one where I think Gennady definitely deserved to win that fight. And he deserved to win, I would say, by a couple of rounds, but they scored it as a draw.
Yes. Yeah, that was a little controversial, just on the basis that Tyson, obviously, he's got the heart of a lion, but he's a bounce back fighter. He can get up after being knocked down. It's not to say he won't be knocked down. He's taken big punches from quite a number of fighters and shown that he is vulnerable to them, but he always gets back up again. Whereas Canelo just doesn't seem to go down.
The only thing I would say to that, though, is that we're talking about heavyweights. So we're talking about 6'9", 6'6" guys who are throwing some serious power. So I don't know who's got a stronger chin, but I would say obviously they both.
That's true.
Both definitely got a granite chin. But yeah. I was listening.
Can we just give a shout out to the robe that Golovkin was wearing as well? Because that was a sick robe.
Was it? Is it Versace? Yeah, the blue and the gold. Triple G.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Love it, mate.
It looked very good.
We do love a good robe, don't we? We do love a good robe.
I do want one of them. It was very cool.
Murata kind of was almost the perfect opponent. He was big, he was strong, he was game, and he was so brave as well. Like there was so many times in that fight where I thought, like especially towards the end, where I thought I was looking at the ref thinking, come on, ref, like he's a bit too brave for his own good, yeah. But it was the perfect sort of strategy. If only he'd had a bit more sort of defensively. Obviously, we are talking about his next opponent, Canelo, which is a different sort of breed to Murata. But I mean, what a performance by him. You can't knock it at all. He just came out and he met him head on and he went right. It was do or die stuff. You know what I mean?
You can see, as you said there, Hamza, I think the way that he's come out and met him head on from round one is just enviable. But I think the thing for me, like you've said, Murata's quite a big guy. He's quite big for the weight division. And there are fighters in that division who I think he would probably walk through. So I'm quite excited to see who his next opponent is going to be as well.
He was apparently told by his doctor that his skull is 1.5 times thicker than the average human man. So that's why he thinks he could take a lot of punches from Gennady. But having said that, in round 8, you could tell he didn't want to be there. He was just trying to hold. He was rocking about. He was off balance, and he looked like he was ready. And by round 9,
maybe he needed 2 inches thicker.
It was after his gum shield got knocked out. Like he got hit with the right round his mouth.
Round 5, slap.
Yeah, and
go on.
After that, we kind of like almost every exchange prior to that, he was answering everything, and then there came to a point, like you say, where he was just kind of covering up and he wasn't answering, or he was taking 6 to give 2, which is never a good ratio.
No, but down so many, he'd been taking so many hits that he had no energy at the end, so he just sort of caught him quickly, and he just sort of went down. He didn't want to carry on. That's how I.
Oh, the speed of that right hand as Murata threw his own punch, I thought was just staggering.
Yeah.
And you could see from the way he stopped and went down and the towel came in, it was game over.
Yeah.
No, it was a finish. It was a great finish. I mean, he can still pull it out the bag against anybody if he catches them with a shot like that. It was a really eye-catching shot. I kind of know what you mean as well, Mike. It wasn't a clinical, clean knockout. It was more of a slow battering into submission. And he kind of did it was a process of Murata being slowly battered into submission where he couldn't take the shots anymore. His punch resistance was gone.
But I think this time I can't see Canelo losing to Bivol. And I think obviously if we get this trilogy fight, it's gonna go to Canelo.
I'm definitely, after this performance, heavily favoring Canelo. The problem is I don't want to go for a knockout prediction because it's such a stretch when Golovkin has never been knocked down, never mind knocked out. So it's tough.
Yeah.
But just with the hand speed of Canelo, the sort of the slipping and the sliding and the defense to offense that he does, I think it's going to be way more one-sided and conclusive this time.